This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Well, that was a fun Survivor Series, right? Right, guys? I mean, I have to say, I looked at a lot of comments on X and other places, and I would say that the general feedback is it was not a great Survivor Series. Even those in attendance were not impressed. It was not a particularly exciting Survivor Series. People are calling for the end of the War Games match itself, and with good reason. I'll give you my thoughts on that, too. We'll talk about Paul Heyman and his shoving of a young fan. I posted that on my X, by the way. It's all over the place, not just obviously on my feed. And what my thoughts are on that, including Jey Uso, who is saying he's not just an entrance and then doing his entrance in the middle of the match. I mean, he is certainly a little bit contradictory in terms of what he wants to be known for versus what he's actually doing. We'll talk about that. Liv Morgan returns in a bright spot of the show. A little bit weird in her return and how that all played out, but it still got us the ultimate result I think most of us thought was going to happen. And we're also going to talk about, of course, Brock and the mystery man who attacked CM Punk. That is the worst kept secret in WWE right now, which is not Chris Jericho. It's not Edge. And all of the Titantron music videos that WWE was putting out, if you notice, I don't know if anybody else had been paying attention to that on TikTok or wherever, where WWE was putting up Edge and Stone Cold and there was somebody else too, I can't remember, but they were playing their videos on the Titantron above the ring, and people who were in hotels overlooking the stadium in San Diego were seeing this and going, wait a minute. Could this be a sign? Could this be a sign? Is WWE testing out their intros? And the answer, of course, is no. It is WWE trolling us at their finest. And I don't blame them. I would do the same thing if I were the company and having the fans think that they're outsmarting us and we're seeing things we shouldn't see. So why don't we give them more? Why don't we put Austin out there? So that was kind of funny. I don't blame the company for that. But if you listen to Triple H in the post show, I mean, he said that this was the greatest Survivor Series he'd ever seen. And I don't know what show he's watching. Perhaps it's the one invented in his mind, but it certainly was not anywhere near the best Survivor Series I've ever seen. I would be of the belief they should go back to a traditional elimination style 5-on-5 matchup that they had on SmackDown, obviously with the star power much reduced, but you could do that still in Survivor Series. I don't know why they feel like the War Games matchup is a better presentation, because there are no I shouldn't say there's no rules. In a lot of ways, there's not, because, again, my biggest criticism is that the match doesn't start until everyone's in the ring. So the idea that anybody has an advantage is, of course, nonsense, because the match doesn't start until everyone's in the ring, which evens the odds automatically. So it's preposterous. And beyond that, the Survivor Series tradition of having an elimination match, I think, has much more lineage and much more value than this kind of gimmicky War Games match that they're seemingly just going to keep on plowing through with. And the fact that there's also nothing on the line, you have these massive mega stars in what was, to the credit of the company, one of the more star-studded matchups we've seen with the names on that show and in that matchup, particularly with the men's. It was pretty incredible. And yet there's no consequence for anyone that has participated in that match and been on the winning or losing side. Now, you could argue there were moments in the match that set up for WrestleMania, that being Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And that seemingly is, according to, who is it? And again, I know this is a controversial name, but they have a decent track record. We have PW, is it on PW Insider? No, Dave Meltzer. And he said that right now the game is, meaning the match is for WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, part 3. Really part 4 if you consider the tag team match with The Rock a match. But one-on-one, it's their third match in 4 years. I don't need any more Cody Roman. I don't need any more Cody in the main event. I mean, what are we going to see in that match that we haven't already seen? Who is going to be the heel in that match? Do we really need either man turning heel? I mean, I guess Cody could. I've been a big proponent of that, and I think his best days are as a heel. But if you're going to do Cody Roman again, I mean, fans are going to go, do you have anything else to go to here? Is this all you've got, is to go to the well 3 times in 4 years? Even Austin and The Rock, who did have 3 WrestleMania main events, of course, much bigger stars, legends in the business, transformative names in the business, will forever be etched in the annals of time in WWE, are bigger stars than Austin. Or I'm sorry, bigger than Cody, bigger than Roman. They had 3 matches, but they were a year apart at least, at 15, 17, and 19. And again, a different time, yes, but that was also a time where you didn't have repeat matchups at WrestleMania. Now we're going back to this 3 times in 4 years. I'm not a fan of it. Yes, they do put on good matches. Cody and Roman have really good chemistry, and maybe that's the biggest reason they're trying to do this, or they are looking at a Cody heel turn, whatever. I mean, you could turn Cody heel without having Roman in the match. At least they could have done Punk and Roman. That, to me, at least, was something different. It would truly put CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania on a much more, a spotlight instead of just being in a triple threat like he was last year. But here we are. That seems to be the plan right now, if you believe Dave Meltzer. And it seems to be based on what we saw in the match with them eyeing each other, and there's some tense moments. Yeah, it does seem perhaps they are building to WrestleMania with Roman and Cody again, which means Roman Reigns is likely going to win the Royal Rumble this year, if you believe that. Now, there are 2 paths. There are 2 paths to the main event of WrestleMania, as we all know. Yes, it's the Rumble, but it's also whoever comes out of the chamber for the opposite brand. So Roman could win, but I don't need to see it that many times. I mean, can we do something different? Can we please? I don't care. I mean, even if it is a Cody heel turn, again, you don't need Cody and Roman to do it. What about Cody and Randy? How is that not a better story? We haven't seen it yet. We all know Randy's eventually going to turn, or you could have Cody turn, but the story there of these two and the legacy, pun intended, that they have together is much deeper, and it's also new. It's a much better fit story, I think, for WrestleMania than Roman and Cody again. Now, we're all pretending this is etched in stone. We all know things can change on a dime. Nothing is set, but that seems to be where they're headed right now. So that was a long intro for saying, welcome to the podcast. I appreciate everybody who's joining us here. If you want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast, or go to our podcast, ad-free podcast, which is on Apple and on Spotify, of course, on Patreon as well. If you want to get rid of the ads you hear every 10 minutes and they're annoying you and you cuss, well, I can stop those 4-letter words from coming out of your mouth or entering your brain by just going to Patreon or Apple Podcasts, clicking subscribe, and there you go. They just disappear like magic. All right. So Survivor Series. Now, let me talk about just a couple more things here before we get into the show itself, because I want to make sure I spend time on this. There's not a lot I have in terms of detailed review of some of these matches, because it was not a particularly exciting match. And I will say, if you went to San Diego, if you flew to San Diego to wait in a bunch of lines, to spend money on airfare, hotels, ancillary expenses, food, merch, the tickets themselves, you're looking at several $1,000s for most people. You certainly didn't get your money's worth. I don't think you did. That's very subjective. If you listen to Triple H, it's the best event they've ever put forward. But what's he supposed to say? What is he supposed to say? He's the head of creative of the company. What is he going to say? Yeah, well, that was okay. We've had better in the past. This one was, like a C minus. He can't say that. It's just like every WrestleMania has to be the biggest. It's the best. It's the biggest WrestleMania. It's the biggest. Of course, they have to say that. If they were going to have some truth serum put in them, you know what they'd say about some of these WrestleManias? Oh, man, last year was so much better. But they can't say that. They're in the business of selling you the event at hand. So I don't know if Triple H was trolling us, knowing it didn't come out well, knowing he was going to get backlash. But it, of course, was not the best Survivor Series of all time. Was it a total crap show? No. I mean, there were some good spots, as I said. I mean, Dom and Cena, I think, put on a good matchup, as good as you could have expected. Liv Morgan's turn was weird, but ultimately the right place. Yeah, and the women's match had its okay moments. I wasn't very high in the women's match. And it's not because I'm a chauvinist, all right, even though many of you like to believe that that's the case. But I just don't think the women's match delivered very well. I thought it was very staged, didn't look organic. Everything's a spot. Nothing looks like anyone's competing. They look like they're performing. Let me say that again, because I feel like I hit it right there. Today's wrestling, just generally, and particularly the women's match here last night, it looks like today's wrestlers are performing and not competing. Now, you could say that, well, they are performing, but at least create the illusion they're competing to try to beat one another. And in some real instances and on a real level, I think you do have actual competition because they're trying to maybe outdo their opponent, outdo their last match, outdo, whoever's in the ring, make themselves look better. So there's actually a level of actual, real, true competition, not in the sense of trying to win or lose because they already know who obviously is doing that. But there is a sense of competition in one lens. But when I look at today's wrestling, man, this is what kills me is it looks much more like performance than competition. And I despise that because what brings you in is believing and trying to make it feel like there's these two men, these two women are trying to kill one another for the prize at hand, the championship opportunity, the title itself, a blood feud to get revenge. And instead, everybody feels so just kind of perfectly so, and they're quip little lines, and I don't know. I'm a little bit sour off this event. I wouldn't give it an F. I really wouldn't. If you're looking for a letter grade, I'd give it a C-. I'd give it a C-. I thought it was below average, particularly for the fact that it was a Survivor Series, one of the big 4 PLEs, and you didn't have any massive returns. Although again, you had the mystery opponent and the mystery attacker. We all know who that is. Ready for some breaking news? You heard it here first. Stay with me. Austin Theory. Did I blow you away? Are you on the edge of your seat? Are you shocked? Is your jaw on the table? Yeah. So, I mean, he's certainly not, to me, a big star. He's a guy that has been off TV for months and no one knows where he went. And this is a good return for him. Yes, he did the stomp, but that clearly is not Seth. It's not Chris Jericho. The way he was moving, it's way too athletic for Chris Jericho. All right. It's not Chris Jericho. It's not Edge. He moved way too athletically and seamlessly for it to be Jericho or Edge, given how they wrestle and their age. It's just a fact. So it is most likely Austin Theory. If it's not, then kudos. You fooled us all. But Austin Theory seems to be the likely choice of attacking CM Punk and costing him the match with the stomp. So those in attendance that pay thousands don't even get to see the reveal. You have to then tune into Monday Night Raw when you're back on your couch and $2,000 less in the bank to find out who it is, and we all know it's Austin Theory. So Paul Heyman also, again, I told you I was going to talk about these kind of outside fringe topics here before I dive into the matches themselves. Paul Heyman, I put this also on my X, shoved a young fan on his way out of the arena last night. This is not part of a story. It's not planned. This is clearly a young fan. I would say 8, 9 years old, maybe 10, in that range, 8 to 10, 7 to 10. Young fan who got a little bit ambitious and stood in front of Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman shoved him aside. Didn't shove him to the ground, just kind of shoved him aside pretty good. He shoved him aside pretty damn good, and here's the defense for Heyman. In today's day and age, you don't know who's doing what. His reaction is to just shove whoever's in front of him out of the way, knowing this person shouldn't be there. You don't know what anybody's motivations are today. Sad, but true. So his reflex is to just shove whoever it is out of the way because you don't know what's about to happen. I mean, very highly unlikely, but you never know. Something bad could happen if a little child, is manipulated by somebody to go do something terrible to Paul Heyman. Again, super unlikely. I know, ridiculous scenario, but that's sadly how you have to think today. Just shove them out of the way. They don't belong there. Okay. That's in defense of Heyman. It's a reflex. He didn't even really think. He just shoved the kid. No harm was done to him. It just is a bad look for Paul. Now, on the flip side, it's a child. You can immediately see it's a child. The likelihood that he is going to have anything to do to actually harm you is very, very low. Now, where is that kid's parents? I don't know. But it doesn't look good for Heyman. It's a bad optic. You have Paul Heyman shoving a child, right, at a WWE event. And that's really good for his heel character, too. But, I mean, I kind of feel split on this. You have to put yourself in Paul Heyman's shoes. It's easy as fans to look at this and go, oh, what a jerk. This guy shoving a child out of the way. What is he thinking? What a bully. What a total a-hole. Well, again, if you are a public figure that is as recognizable as Paul Heyman is, and you have your security around you, and somebody somehow infiltrates that security and is able to get directly in front of you, what is your reaction instantly going to be? You have to try to put yourself in Heyman's shoes. So part of me kind of sides with Heyman. He didn't punch the kid. He didn't knee him in the stomach. He didn't do anything other than shove him aside. I think that's a reasonable response. So at the same time, I understand the optics. It looks bad. So I wanted to give you guys another perspective from the generally just negative reaction towards Paul Heyman on this. Now, if I were Heyman and there was nothing, no litigation or anything coming from this and no actual bad PR, I would use this in my promos. I would use this to really get more heat. That if I shoved a child, what do you think I'm going to do to you? What lengths would I go to put myself in harm's way to help the Vision, win? Whatever. You could really use this. Take a real life event and turn it. So, alrighty. I think I've gone off of my tangents a little bit too much. Let's actually get into the matches themselves and these reviews, because I want to give credit where credit's due, and I'm going to promote them because I like them. And even though I have absolutely no contact with them, we have no relationship whatsoever, but I want to give a shout out to Pro Wrestling Net. They do an awesome job. And this is where I get my review. Okay, so they do an excellent job, so I don't have to write notes while I'm watching the show. I don't have to because they do, and they do a great job. So there, how's that for your free, completely free plug for Pro Wrestling Net? Alrighty. So we had the beginning of the show here with I clicked on Raw. That's bad. Okay, we have at the beginning of the show. We have a Cassie B performing the national anthem. I didn't really watch it. And Michael Cole narrated, and the sirens blared as the cage started to lower around the rings. And Cole said, "Let the war games begin." And pyro shot off. 45,000 people are in the arena. And we had, let's see here, the rules announced by Alicia Taylor. And Charlotte Flair comes out. And good reaction, although the crowd was not overly excited. I got to say, like San Diego, in an open roof arena too, a lot of the sound escapes, they weren't particularly loud. I have to say that about San Diego. They weren't terrible, but they were really living up to PLE expectations. One of the big four too. So we had Team Rhea versus Team Asuka. And the first spot in the match, the first two in the match were Flair and Asuka, and the second entrant was Io Sky, who brought a trash can lid with her name painted on it, because that's what she does. That's her gimmick, guys. She does trash cans. Again, performance, not competition. Okay, but Sky brought the weapon to ringside, and Asuka took it away. The second entrant for Team Asuka was Becky Lynch. And Cole said Lynch was the self-appointed captain of the team, and Lynch brought a kendo stick to the cage and worked over Sky with it, and Lynch got the better of Sky and then Flair. So, yeah, I mean, the kendo stick's always a tried and true weapon. Becky Lynch did have one of the more horribly embarrassing moments in the match last night, because I think it was AJ Lee who had her foot as gently as you could on Becky Lynch's head, and about 3 or 4 inches from the cage itself. And Becky Lynch is screaming as if her face is being mutilated on the steel. And it was clearly nowhere near it. It looked horrible and it looked embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It's one of the, I know I'm being a little bit negative, guys. I'm calling it like it is. And maybe it's just today's wrestling is no longer my cup of tea, and I'm trying to fit a square peg in a round hole of like my love for wrestling versus today's product. And I'm trying to shove today's product in how I like to see wrestling. And it's not that anymore, because to me, evolution is not inherently a good thing. Sometimes you don't break or fix what's not broken. I know people look at evolution and progress as inherently good. It's not, because it depends on what you're doing to said thing to quote unquote progress it. But that was a horrible spot. I mean, just embarrassing. I said this on X. Follow me, by the way, the WWE podcast on X. That it was one of those moments that it brings secondhand embarrassment to you and makes you ashamed to be a wrestling fan. And I know a lot of you listen to me and have for a while, and all the emailers are like, "Oh my God, Matt, calm down." It was no. I mean, like, first of all, I'm not going crazy. But these are the things that I can't look past anymore. It's inexcusable. You know, I mean, you have Becky Lynch, who's one of the best performers in the women's division. I mean, she was one of the faces, if not the biggest face of the women's division for a year or two, main evented WrestleMania. And you have her just doing something horribly embarrassing. And it's not the first time. Remember she sold a kick that wasn't anywhere near her with Nikki Bella just a couple months ago. And then Becky Lynch's, when she gets slammed on the table, she can't make it look good. I don't know what's going on with Becky. She's decent on the mic. Lately, she's very attention starved on social media. I'll tell you that. She is very attention starved on social media. What she's doing is a lot of rage baiting, saying things that are inflammatory. You're not sure if she's in character or she's not, calling out stars on X. You're not sure if it's really part of the story or she's just trying to get attention for herself, but the result is all the same. She's still getting attention, which is ultimately, I think, what she's looking for, and taking things in her own hands. And you know, that's fine. That's fine. But she's becoming kind of insufferable. And I hate to say that about Becky, but something about her lately is really not sitting well with me. And this has been a couple of months, despite the fact I think she was an excellent candidate to put some value into the newly established Women's Intercontinental Championship. And she did a great job with that. But just as a character, and some of her botches are just, some of them are amateur. I'm serious. Some of them. And that doesn't, to me, it doesn't take away from what she's actually accomplished in wrestling. She's accomplished more in wrestling than a lot of men will ever accomplish. A lot of the women will ever accomplish. Main eventing WrestleMania. I mean, like Ronda Rousey, all the rest of it. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so the third entrant for Team Asuka was Kairi Sane, who brought a green chain with her, and Sane wrapped the chain around her fist and jumped off the top rope and punched Flair. Lynch held the chain, and Asuka and Sane kicked their opponents. The fourth entrant for Team Rhea, AJ Lee. And then we had Lynch try to hold the door closed to prevent AJ from entering. And Lee climbed up the door and over the top of the cage and stood on the top rope and then hit Asuka and Sane with a crossbody block. Lynch showed fear and tried to run away, who caught her and slammed her head into the turnbuckle. Lee hit Lynch with a Shining Wizard, and then Sane hit Lee from behind and then mocked Lee skipping. Lee then quickly got the better of Sane, and Asuka approached Lee while the broadcast team said they'd never met in the ring before. That was a cool stat. Lynch hit Lee from behind and then put the heels of the boot to Lee until her partners ran over to help. I mean, yeah, that was the horrific part. So the fourth entrant was Nia Jax. Jax powerbombed Sky, She looked dominant to start. She hit Flair and Bliss with hip attacks. The usual, Nia coming in and leveling people. It was what you expected. The fifth and final entrant for Team Rhea was Rhea Ripley. She had a bag of kendo sticks, a just cartoon mask on, and said Ripley's face shield and gear were inspired by the Terrifier movies, because of course they are. Ripley put Sane in a prism lock, and Sky put a trash can over Sane's head while she was in the hold, and then Sky got a running start and kicked the can, and Jax put down Sky and Ripley. And the fifth and final entrant for Team Asuka was Lash Legend. Now, before we get to Lash Legend, I want to comment on the mask here. Rhea Ripley, and the same thing I think goes for Stephanie Vaquer. And no one really cares about this stuff because they're your performers or wrestlers, I should say, wrestlers that are unfortunately trying to double as performers. But the dark side of who they are as people, and I know I'm getting a little bit too real on this, and there's maybe no need to really bring this up, but I just wanted to because, hey, it's my show. There's a lot of dark attachments that these women, particularly Stephanie and Rhea and others, have to like demonic stuff. And I know whatever you believe, that's not good. Okay. And it shouldn't, because you cannot tell me that having those imprints on your skin for the rest of your life and being inspired by a Terrifier movie, which is just it's a gore fest beyond, your imagination. I mean, you might know what Terrifier is. If you don't, you're squeamish, don't watch it. It's horrific. I mean, that's just Rhea Ripley in a nutshell, with all the demonic tattoos she has on her, the pentagram. Stephanie Vaquer, same thing. And notice that her move is called the Devil's Kiss. I don't think that's a coincidence. I just wanted to point that out. I'm not getting any kind of religious on anybody. That's not what I'm getting at here. But just the fact that they are connected to those things in this world in a real way. Otherwise, you would not imprint them on your skin. Okay, you don't do that as a well, maybe I don't know how I feel about this. Let me just get it permanently on my skin. That tells me kind of all I need to know about like what their beliefs are, and that if they were in my circle of friends, like I would probably distance myself. That'd be me, but they're not anywhere near it, and I'm getting way off track. But I wanted to bring that up because Rhea Ripley just continues to get darker and darker and darker, and same with Stephanie Vaquer. I don't know. I'll leave it there. Okay, so we have Lash Legend. She did not get much of a reaction, but how can you expect her to? And then we had Taylor declare that let the War Games begin, which of course is ridiculous. Cole said Lynch had issues with the referee and dubbed her a crooked car. And we have the finish with Lynch being the only heel standing after Io Sky put the trash can over her head and performed a swanton on some of the heels that were on the bottom of the ring, which again it's a high risk move. I mean, God bless her. I certainly wouldn't do that. It's one of those, like, it's clearly a spot. It's not competition. I'm very much, I've just shifted, man. If I'm supposed to believe that this is going to be something I'm emotionally invested in, it's really difficult to be when I know that this is in my face just a performance, and they just tell me all the time it's a performance, and there's spots and people wait, and there's no sense of urgency, and there's no fluidity, I feel like, in a lot of these matches. And with Io Sky, I mean, she just is, it's a hell of a spot for her, but again, it's a spot. It's not something that you can say, wow, like that. I mean, that was incredible. I'm so glad she did that. For me to hope that her team wins, like, it's just a spot. What's the emotional connection there? I mean, so anyway, I'm not trying to crap all over this match. It was okay at times. Lynch and Bliss had some fun moments. We have at the end here with, Lee pulling Lynch back into the Widow's hold and got a quick submission victory. So Team Ripley wins in 41 minutes and 10 seconds. Yes, 41 minutes. It was okay. It was okay, despite my criticisms of the demonic stuff and all the stuff but I guarantee you no other podcaster is talking about. They're just going through, the storylines. I mean, I talk about stuff that a lot of people don't, and that's for better or worse. All right, let's continue. We have John Cena come out. Big reaction. Obviously, biggest of the night. Deservingly so. Taking on Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. And Cole noted that Cena has 100 PLE wins, second only to The Undertaker. See, thank you, Cole. I love you, Cole. God, Cole's going to be missed whenever he does. He's no longer able to. I'm not going to say he's dead, but like when he's unable to, do this anymore, he just decides he doesn't want to. Cole is an unappreciated asset to the company. He really is. So the match went. Let's see here. What is the? I'm trying to look at the timestamp here. I don't see the timestamp. It's like 15 minutes, but so the match I think was really good. I mean, when you talk of just quality matchup, nice pacing, excellent showing for Dom and for Cena at his age and what he was trying to do for Dom. It was just everything you wanted it to be. Dom got the three amigos. He put the boots to Cena, and then we had both of them end up on the floor. Dom hit Cena with a sucker punch while he was focused on the women here with Rodriguez, of course, and Roxanne. And there was a botch spot here where Dom went for a Hurricane Rana off the barricade, but he landed on the back of his head and shoulder. That's always scary. And then Rodriguez hit Cena with a Tejada bomb. Ridiculous. I mean, it's just... I'm trying not to be too negative, and this is just ridiculous crap. This is ridiculous. Anyway, Rodriguez hit Cena with a Tejada bomb, and then Perez followed up with Pop Rocks. Dom shot up, returned to the ring, and hit Cena with a 619 and a frog splash, but the referee refused to count and ejected Rodriguez and Perez from ringside. So this is from Pro Wrestling Net. They said, quote, awesome sequence. The bump that Dom took looked much worse than the one Penta took on Raw, and then Dom convincingly sold shoulder pain. So, yeah, I mean, it was. That was a very well-done segment. Very smooth. Everyone hit their spots in a way that didn't make it look like a performance. See the difference? All right. So, Cena then hoisted up Dom, hit him with an AA. This Is Awesome broke out, and then Cena hit Dom with a shoulder block, went for another, but this time he hit the referee. Yes, we had a ref bump, and then Cena put Dom into the STF. Finn and JD come out, attack Cena. McDonough went for the moonsault, but Cena put up his knees. He avoided a coup de grace, and then Cena ends up hitting a double AA. And Liv Morgan comes out. She comes to the ring, big pop for her as well. Fun to see her again. And she waited for Dom to stand up and smiled at him and then slapped him, which did not look good. She slapped him like 4 inches above his head. It was not good, but it was something that I'm sure many of us didn't expect. And then she jumped into Cena's arms, and she then changed her facial expression. And then Morgan was back on her feet and kicked Cena in the nuts. And then Dom hit Cena with a 619 frog splash. 1, 2, 3. 16 minutes and 40 seconds. That's what the timestamp was. And so Dom and Liv are all as well. It was a setup for John Cena. So as expected, as predicted, and the right move was having John Cena drop the belt here to Dominic Mysterio, because it's the only thing, it's the only right move here. I mean, you cannot have John Cena going into Saturday night's main event on December 13th in 2 weeks with the IC title. You just can't. So good. We have now a clean, whoever the final opponent is for John Cena, one-on-one. Alrighty. We then have, let's see here, Nikki Bella come out, quiet reaction. That made me very happy. And we had Stephanie Vaquero take her on here for the Women's World Championship. The match was 12 minutes and 20 seconds. The crowd didn't give a damn about Nikki. Even here, according to Pro Wrestling Net's analysis, that said the live crowd just wasn't into Nikki, and they didn't buy her as a threat to beat Vaquero, and rather the fans just waited for the Devil's Kiss and Vaquero's other signature moves. This looked like it should be one and done, but perhaps they'll try to get a TV match out of it. I hope it's one and done. No, I don't want. I don't want Nikki Bella to be a one and done. I just want her to be done. I mean, please. I'm sure Nikki is going to come up with some kind of reasoning as to why fans are, the way they were so quiet. Well, we came off of a crazy match between Dom and John Cena, and, it's an open air stadium. And, don't forget, there's a lot of those misogynistic males in the audience that just don't cheer for women. I mean, I'm sure that'll be thrown in there for good measure, some kind of nonsense, because that's who she is. And it really made me happy. So San Diego, as quiet as you were in some segments that kind of made me scratch my head, this segment where you didn't respond to Nikki made me very proud. You're on the other side of the country, but bravo. Standing ovation. Well done. Well done. So the match was okay. I mean, the Devil's Kiss on the announce table, I'm not a big fan of that move. It was okay. We had Nikki slap Vicaire, and then Vicaire suplexed Nikki and hit the Devil's Kiss again, and Vicaire then hit a corkscrew moonsault and got the victory. So yeah, Stephanie Vicaire wins. I did say Nikki at the beginning of on my prediction show that Nikki may win. She didn't, and Stephanie Vicaire is victorious. Okay, we have the men's match here, and Roman Reigns, Punk, Rhodes, Uso, and Jimmy Uso versus Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar. I mean, I don't know if I want to go through this match bit by bit here. I mean, some of the highlights I will talk about. Brock Lesnar didn't slip on the entranceway. That was a plus. But, he had a hell of a moment with Roman. There's a lot of history there. Roman Reigns did have a great entrance. People were anticipating it as Brock dominates and suplexes and does his thing. And, Roman Reigns could probably do less with that Superman punch. I mean, that's he did that 4 times to Brock, and I could do without the cocking of his fist as well. It's a throwback to when fans just outright rejected him as that babyface. I think he needs to get rid of that. I know it's an instinct. It's just what he does. But for me, it's bringing back bad memories for him when he was embarrassing to watch. But he did a hell of a job with Braun Breaker getting speared. CM Punk obviously being attacked by Austin Theory. That it's not official, but we all kind of have deduced it's Austin Theory. Brock Lesnar F5ing Roman Reigns through the announce table. And then there's Logan Paul with the Nux. And I like the Nux. I got to say, I like the Nux. Roman Reigns using the Nux after Logan Paul was a good spot too. Logan Paul continues to show you he is more than ready for this spot. That he was a shining star for me, and he continues to be. He shows you that if he goes all in like he says he is going to be the face of the company in a year. And he's that damn good, like it or not. And the one thing, again, if you're looking for me to have some criticism, well, here it is. Jey Uso, I said at the beginning here, he continued, I'm not just an entrance. Huh. Oh, well, boy, I wouldn't have known that based on what you did last night in front of millions of people by running back your entrance in the middle of the match because you're gassed. I mean, boy, yeah, you're not just an entrance, but let me have my entrance twice. Yeah, I mean, Jey Uso, the problem is that this hate for him, this dislike for him, does not translate in person. It doesn't translate. So WWE's like, okay, well, screw it. I mean, you have Jey Uso who's getting hated online. Oh, big deal. We're just going to keep moving forward. If that translates into some action, some verbal, some actual tangible evidence on television, we may make a change. But until then, screw the internet fans, right? That's probably what they're saying. That's what I'd say too. Because the internet is real life in the sense that real people are putting real things on the internet, but it's not a physical space, right? Until it actually manifests itself into a physical 3-dimensional space on television, I don't think they're going to really do much with Jey. So if you want Jey to go away, if you're in that camp, don't go to the shows and cheer him. That's all there is to it. I hate it. I hate it that he says one thing, does another. He's... I mean, I never liked him as world champion. You guys know that. At the same time, I respect the hell out of him. He is a legendary tag team champion, a underwhelming world champion, but certainly worthy of the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. He didn't prosper, I think, the way that they kind of hoped as a single star. Jimmy, much less so. But all right, so I'm trying to look at some other spots here. We have, let's see here. Yeah, Jay looked into the camera. I mean, it was ridiculous. Right before the fifth opponent was Brock, he ran it back. It's stupid. I'm trying to find here. Oh, well, just talk about the mystery opponent. Again, he stomps CM Punk. I don't know what they're going to do with Austin Theory, though. Are they that motivated to give him that big of a push? I guess. I mean, out of nowhere, they're just going to slam Austin Theory into our faces as a viable, believable threat to CM Punk's world title. I guess that's where we're supposed to go. So, yeah. Okay, so here are some spots here. We had Punk hit Lesnar with a GTS. Cody followed up with Crossroads, and then Cody and Punk tried to cover Brock together, but Logan Paul jumped from the top rope and broke up the pin. And that's when Logan got the brass knucks from Heyman. And Reigns, as I said, took the brass knucks and cleared house. There was a fun moment with Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns as well, with Roman Reigns ending up spearing Braun Breaker. And Braun Breaker, I think he had a decent night, not one that I think people were hopeful for. If you're looking for a breakout performance of like, oh my God, here we go with Braun Breaker. Wasn't that. But so we had the Team Lesnar beat Team Roman in 40 minutes and 30 seconds. After, again, the mystery man, i.e. Austin Theory, stomp, Punk, 1, 2, 3. So, I think that the PLE was a C minus, simply because maybe I was in a sour mood, or maybe I'm just getting kind of grumpy in my older age here as a middle-aged dude. I'm not sure. But the fact that you have just so many spots that don't look like wrestling anymore, it's a gymnastics performance with some spots built in. And then they'll remind you throughout the show, hey, don't get too emotionally invested in here. Like, here's how we do all this. Now, here's some behind the scenes stuff. Here, come backstage, come to Gorilla, come see how this whole show is made. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. But it's a different version of WWE now with TKO. And Vince certainly had his issues. He had his terrible sense of humor and his need to put humor on every show that was more often than not terrible. And he had some, just completely incongruent storylines. And you heard about the countless number of times that the Raw or SmackDown script was torn up 5 minutes before the show and rewritten, and there's no congruity. Like Vince McMahon was chaotic. And I'm not sad that he is no longer in control, but there were some things that Vince still respected about the business, and one of them being that you don't have sponsors on the mat. But I won't get into that. So if you're still with me, I appreciate it, because I feel like I ranted for 40 some minutes here. I really do appreciate the effort here on a lot of the men's and women's parts, but I call a spade, and you guys can leave comments. I'm sure that'll say, does this dude even like wrestling? All he does is bitch and moan. Okay, well, fine. Like a lot of other shows out there, if you want to hear somebody massage and just throw roses at the feet of everything WWE does, and only give the analytics, and only look at, they're probably going to go here and there. And there's no flavor to a lot of podcasts where it's, a lot of it is just what they could do with the matches and where they could be going. And there's not a lot of opinion. It's just sometimes a lot of the shows are just very dry and objective instead of throwing in some damn commentary. So I hope I do that for you, because I believe every damn word I say. I'm not doing it for attention. I promise you. So thank you, everybody. If you're still here, I do appreciate it. Leave comments, subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts rather, and go ad free at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Go ad free on Apple, go ad free on Spotify. Those all offer ad free experiences. If you want to hear me bitch and moan, you want to hear me just complain, because that's all I do, then go to those sites and hear it uninterrupted with no ads. So you'll be able to hear 45 minutes straight of me just complaining about wrestling. Pretty cool, huh? How about that for a sales pitch? How about that? All right. Thanks, everybody. I hope you are did have a great weekend. It's December now as you listen to this, I'm guessing. And that means we are into John Cena's final match that is going to be front and center for the next 2 weeks. Who's going to advance? Who's going to show up? Does Edge show up? Does Chris Jericho show up for a retirement one-off or whatever they're doing with him? Or we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, we got a couple weeks until we head to DC for Saturday night's main event. Then all eyes are on the Rumble. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk soon on Tuesday for the Raw review.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.